There's this photograph that I've been dreaming of for years. A shot so difficult that literally no one has ever captured it before. There's this bird called the Himalayan Snowcock, only existing in North America in a single mountain range called the Ruby Mountains. Everything is at odds against you when photographing this bird. The weather, the incredibly small population to find, how insanely skittish they are, and the daringly, almost inaccessible mountain cliffs you have to climb to get to them. Mother Nature is reminding you every step of the way, you aren't built to be here. But this bird is. And to try to photograph this bird well, you'll have to defy all these odds. This is what I've come for. This bird is so rare that it literally only exists in the US in this specific mountain range and nowhere else. Introduced from the Himalayas in 1963, they have grown to a population of an estimated 300. However, the rubies are nearly 2,000 square miles in area, most of all of which is alpine peaks and requires extensive hiking and backpacking. And what makes matters worse is these birds are incredibly skittish. Upon first sighting, they will often jump straight off the canyon face to fly off and never be seen again. Approaching them requires tremendous caution and unparalleled strategy. But to capture such a beautiful bird, a beautiful plan is required. In this adventure, I'll overcome physical boundaries I've never pushed before, and test my mental strength like never before. Even when against all odds of photographing this impossible bird, I have 2 impossible shots that I'll be pursuing on this excursion. Number 1, snowcock have an absolutely stunning call that echoes across the mountain peaks, and I'll be attempting to capture that on video. And number 2, I'll be attempting to capture the first ever high-quality aesthetic photograph of these birds in the Ruby Mountains. After working through my 5-day plan with local bird guide and expert on snowcock, Bill Holman, he pinpointed my odds at a 70% chance of seeing these birds and a mere 15% chance of getting a good photograph of them. That's absolutely ridiculous odds. But here we are on day 1, scouting out our location for snowcock at the most likely recommended location by Bill.
Oh.
Chukar, an amazing desert partridge living amongst the steep slopes of arid regions. Also, an incredibly skittish bird. But while I was watching this pair from a distance, something much bigger caught my attention off to the side. A band of mountain goats was resting on the cliff ledge. Amongst them, even a young one learning the lifestyle of the cliffs. These little fluff balls are adorable, and easily some of the cutest creatures I have ever seen. These mountain goat are incredible how they scale cliffs that are seemingly impossible to get a foothold, but with their specialized hooves, they cling to the rock as they move along it. Fascinated with this behavior, I spent a few minutes recording this female as she gave me a show of this ability. Off to my right and set against some distant mountain peaks, a male mountain goat approached over the edge. Seeing this background and angle, I knew this would be my best opportunity from my positioning to get a photograph. So I fired off a shot and captured the mountain goat against some alpine peaks, beautifully representing the grand environment that they live in. This was one of my 2 side goals for the trip that I wasn't expecting, but would really be pleased to find. Mountain goat, as seen here, and bighorn sheep are both coveted mammals that roam the Great Basin across America. And on day 1, Getting this opportunity to start out showed promise higher than I had hoped. But while my mountain goat experience was great, my bighorn sheep encounter later on would result in some unbelievable photos I cannot wait to share with you all.
On this trip, I was expecting to be able to see mountain goat at some point during it, but I was really not expecting to be able to get any good shots. So it was awesome that on our very first day, just when scouting, I was able to get a shot that was actually pretty good, composed with those mountain peaks in the background of one of the mountain goats. So I'm already considering that a win, and I think we've come off to a great start on simply our scouting day after the snowcock. So this is one of the first corridors that I've been told that the snowcock kind of tend to frequent through. And so I'm seeing right up this way, we've got the path that we can hike up to get on the top of the cliff, try to shoot the snowcock off the side of the cliff that's all behind us, stretched out right here. But they also like to come down through this lower passage and kind of come up that corridor right there. And I'm also seeing that right here can offer some pretty good opportunities too, with an amazing vista in the background, if possible. So trying to figure out right now and keep conscious of some different angles that might work out for good opportunities, and just kind of be ready for those in these future days if they come.
As we scouted around the area, we plotted routes of travel for the snowcock along the cliff sides. These birds scale cliff sides particularly with small ledges of grass and sedge along them. As we planned our route of attack, we discovered small caves and scenic vistas along the way. Getting the shot I'm dreaming of is far from a photograph that happens by accident. Everything has to come together for it. Timing, lighting, angles, technique, and behavior all have to line up. Mentally plotting these routes the snowcock frequents and picking my backgrounds accordingly while considering the light at the correct time of day is essential for me getting this one-of-a-kind image.
All right, so you want to know the good news and the bad news about this? Yeah. The good news is that if the snowcock is in this area, which has taken us maybe about an hour and a half to get to this spot, and we'll just go a little further up, that's all we're gonna have to hike each of these mornings. But the bad news is that if the snowcock is not in this area, we're climbing to the top of that. Which is easily an extra hour to 2 hours on top of what we're doing. So we're looking at like a 3-hour hike every morning in the dark. That's gonna be tough if so.
Getting around the upper cliff here wasn't easy. The snowpack on the shaded side was a little deeper than expected, and sinking with each step made travel slow and painful. But after spending nearly an hour on the final push, we made it to the top of the ledge. With the amount of hiking on this trip, it made me grateful to be able to use the Sigma 500mm 5.6. It's the sharpest lens I could think of for the job that comes in with a decent focal length and aperture at only 3 pounds or under. Any other lens would have weighed so much more and been so much bigger that it would have made travel difficult.
Got the battle scars to prove that did this, climb this mountain. So I think today we've finished our scouting, as it's getting pretty close to sunset. We got to get back down this mountain, but out this way a little further would be some more options in the future. We might scout these after the mornings if we're not successful at these ideal locations. This location we're currently at, kind of in this area, and the location I pointed out earlier are the two most ideal locations for getting actual good photographs of snowcock, it seems. So whether that plays out in reality, we will see over the next 4 days.
As we made our way back down the hill that night, I felt energized. With hope of being the first person ever to accomplish this feat, I looked forward to good things to come. But little did I know that my plans wouldn't quite work out the way that I expected.
So we're out here right now at 4 a.m. in the morning to do this hike. Never, ever, ever done a shoot this brutal. Gonna be doing this for the next 4 days and just praying that the snowcock, we not only get to kind of figure out where they are, but that we get that good shot that we're looking for.
The mountain is magical as it comes to life. In the cold, the sounds of the river echoed as we hiked up towards the cliffs. Fresh air filled our lungs, and hope inspired our steps. As we approached our location to set up, the light started to hit the valley. It was a cold morning, and the moisture in the clouds hitting the mountainside where we posted up made our clothes wet, freezing our bodies much more than we expected. However, even amidst the chilling temperatures, the views were amazing as light would dance in between the clouds as clouds would roll in one by one to hit us on the mountainside.
So we're about an hour and a half into waiting for the snowcock after sunrise, and so far nothing, not even the sound, which is kind of discouraging. I would have expected them to call by now, even if they were on the second location a little further up the cliff. I would have expected to hear them. So the fact that we're not is not a good sign today. But while we are waiting, this is a beautiful, beautiful scenery that we're getting to see as the fog kind of rolls through each time. And so, man, what a stunning place to be.
A few mountain bluebird wound up making their way through the area. I've photographed these birds a few times before, but still, they always amaze me with their stunning colors.
So at this point, it's been about 3 hours that we've been waiting here, and there's been no signs of the snowcock whatsoever, which has been really sad. By this point in the morning, I'd be really surprised if we didn't hear anything of them whatsoever. So I'm debating scouting out, heading back down the hill in about 30 minutes or so if we don't see them, scouting out some other areas and potentially seeing if they're at any of the other cliffs around here, because I'm not seeing any signs of them here. So we're off at a new location. This is kind of the backup location, and we're gonna be scouting it today. Maybe, fingers crossed, run into some snowcock, but at the very least, hopefully hear them, and then hopefully come back tomorrow morning after a failure this morning at the other location. Just nothing. So I'm kind of skeptical of trying there again. Want to try something new. You'll probably notice that throughout this video, I haven't had to use my hands much when carrying around my camera, even when hiking thousands of feet in elevation. That's thanks to Cotton Carrier, the sponsor of today's video, and who helped fund this insane adventure. Cotton Carrier's ability to keep you hands-free while still being completely agile is key to a physically demanding trip like this. And with my camouflage needs, their Realtree camo design was necessary to keep my concealment. With Cotton Carrier's harness, your camera stays firmly stuck to your chest as you hike around, and to capture an image, it takes less than a second to grab it out and get into position. Cotton Carrier is my favorite camera carrying device, and I highly recommend checking them out if you need a solution for carrying your camera accessibly on the go.
If you're interested in purchasing, you can check out my link in the description below to receive 15% off your purchase using my discount. After an initial drone scout, we started making our way up the mountain again. This terrain proves unforgiving, and the slopes were amongst the steepest I've hiked in my life. Each time we climb up, our goal is to make it from around 6,000 feet in elevation at the base of the mountain to 9,000 feet on the ledges where the Himalayan Snowcock live. And the trickiest part is sometimes figuring out how to get up these cliffs, as there is no trail telling you how to route up. You've been seeing me use a drone throughout this video, and the reason for this is that we are going through untrailed territory, dodging our way around steep cliffs that you can't get vantage points on correctly from down low. So using a drone, we are able to plot our routes ahead of time in order to avoid hours of pointless hiking.
So we've already been hiking for an hour and a half. I don't know how many feet of elevation we've done, but it has been steep, and really where we're trying to get to is the top of that up there, which has kind of been crazy and insane when I'm looking at this right now. But apparently that's another option for where some of the snowcock are. This hike has been strenuous, way more difficult than the other one, that's for sure. It sounds crazy thinking about a couple days of this.
This cliff ledge was flooded with marmots. I think I counted over 10 plus during our time here. However, I was laser focused on the task at hand, so I didn't take time to capture anything good. After another hour of hiking up to the next set of cliffs, I launched the drone one final time for the day to scout out our last remaining route for the following morning.
So we just finished scouting out the tops of these cliffs on the high end and the potential final destination with the drone, and not too excited about how it looks. This is really winding up to be difficult to find where these guys might be, and I'm not feeling super confident about the future with them here at the spot, and let alone if we were to put in another hour's worth of hiking, you know, before sunrise tomorrow. So yeah, man, it's been so tough. I don't want to do this anymore, Grandpa. Mommy. Oh my goodness. Oh.
After another failed day and still not a single snowcock heard or seen, I decided to switch up the game plan. We would get there at the crack of dawn and drive the canyon road in search of the snowcock from the valley floor. This would allow us to cover a dramatically greater amount of area, even if it kept us from getting photos that day. The goal would be to locate them, then spend the final 2 days up on the cliffs actually attempting the photograph. And this plan paid off, as not even later than 20 minutes into scouting, at only our second pullout, I spotted something on a ledge.
Oh my goodness, that's actually them. They are incredibly far off right now on the tops of those ledges, but that is 100% snowcock. I mean, I could barely even get it on video to show you guys. That's how tiny they are, but I can see them when I punch in extra on my camera. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is just insane. That makes me so happy to at least know that they are here, because I was starting to just completely lose hope, but that is 100% them. The question is though, that is so high up. I don't even know how to access that. That's higher than either of the points we were hoping for. And so, yeah, that's gonna be a tough problem to solve, is how to get up there. But I guess that's what I'm gonna start doing right now, is doing some research on that. Wow. Yeah, this video is hard to tell, but the photo, you can definitely make out. We zoom in far enough here. I have multiple photos with him moving, so it's definitely not a rock formation. You can see this kind of silhouette right there. There is no other bird that could possibly be with that silhouette. My first look at snowcock, and there's specks on the screen. I can't say I expected much different though.
After this encounter, we drove back out of the canyon to get reception so I could try to get a rough route scouted on Apple Maps using 3D terrain. I developed a game plan for a scouting hike later that day, but then this happened.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe we just ran across bighorn sheep. There's only about 50 of them roughly in this whole Ruby Mountain range. And we just ran across one of the few groups. Gonna get up on this ledge real quick, see if we can get an angle.
As the herd made its way over to me, I became increasingly overwhelmed with their beauty. From a distance, they can seem a little plain with just a brown coat, but up close, as with all animals, their beauty shines through. The way they are crafted with beautifully curled horns, their attention to each other and the bond they share, and their incredible ability to scale cliffs like the mountain goat from before. These animals were native to the area, but disappeared in the 1900s until they were reintroduced in the 1980s. Now, the herd is around 50 population amongst this whole vast mountain range, so seeing them was such a treat. They are special creatures, and it was an honor to be amongst their herd. I carefully kept my distance, backpedaling as they continued to advance. Spending about a half hour with them and learning their comfort zones, I was able to get incredible close-ups I would have never thought were possible with them. Eventually, I switched to my 135mm 1.8 lens to try and take advantage of how close the herd was, and the results with this lens turned out incredible. Seeing the herd of rams approaching my location head on turned out to be amazing footage, and I wound up capturing some amazing scenic shots and amazing portraits of individuals in the bighorn sheep herd. Eventually, the herd left and made their way up the slopes way quicker than I could follow. I had now gotten lucky enough to run across both of my two side goals on this trip, mountain goat and bighorn sheep. So thankful for these experiences, only one goal remained left, and that was to capture the pinnacle of bird photography in the United States, the Himalayan Snowcock. But what was about to happen was absolutely heartbreaking. We scouted a few more locations out at some other pullouts, then started to make our way up the mountain to scout our new route. The hike was grueling once again, but that wouldn't stop our determined spirits from setting ourselves up for the best chances possible on tomorrow's shoot. One more time we climbed that mountain, hundreds of feet in elevation, just to get a chance at this elusive bird. When getting close to another blockage on the cliffs, I made my way up to the top of an outcrop to launch my drone high into the sky. I figured out our route for the next day. We would hike up the initial slope, push our way over to a river wash, down the mountain, and then push our way up and over to the peaks, and then climb our way over to the side. But as I was coming back down off the cliff, I started to slip, and the worst thing possible happened.
Oh. I freaking knew I should have put it away too, and I just didn't. I tried to hold on to it going down a cliff. Destroyed. By some miracle of God, I think the lenses are still okay. Come on. Nope. Destroyed. I literally dropped this, like, it tumbled like probably 20, 30 feet down the side of it. Get that shot. Back of the teleconverter. It's a little messed up, dinged in there. Here. So gone. Actually, it's pretty sharp. I should probably not even touch it. Viewfinder ripped off on the fall. LCD screen completely cracked. And the front got a crack going down the whole body of it. And then the sensor itself, it looks actually okay, but completely dusted. So we just tested out this lens, and apparently it is completely broken. So right here, you can see that somehow this barrel just got wrecked. It's tighter there, loose there. This is somehow jolted, just broken something in the middle. So glass is fine. But it's that are completely messed up. And so when I was trying to manually focus it, nothing was happening when I was turning this. Even when it's on manual focus on the lens, the electronic connection is not working to the camera, and autofocus wasn't working. Couldn't change in your f-stop, none of that. So the worst part about it is too, I literally knew that I should have put it in the camera backpack. The whole time in this trip, I never thought, oh, I should put my camera backpack. And then coming down that exact ledge, I was like, this is a little sketch. I should probably put this in. The worst part is that lens says it worked. I thought that was going to work. It doesn't work. I don't do that, but I have to pay the cost of the lens now. Got no camera body either, so looks like it might be no wildlife photography for me for a while.
I had never felt so defeated as that moment. In my whole wildlife photography journey, I've never once felt the heartbreak of trying so hard, only to have my dreams crushed by an accident like this. My wife kept telling me at least I was safe, but all I could think about was the snowcock up in the mountains, sitting there on that cliff edge, waiting for me to memorialize it in a photo. This bird is truly an insurmountable task to photograph, and now it's become a muse to my soul that I just can't shake. After spending 3 days scaling mountains, cutting my hands, ticks biting me, and spending hours of research over 5 years, all just to be stopped in 5 seconds of fate, it made me crave wanting more. This journey isn't the end, but just the beginning. And I will be back for you, O ghost of the mountains. See you next year.